name is Laurie Morningstar. I'm an emotional alchemist and ascension teacher, and my website is www.morningstartransformations.com. Meditation into the sacred heart, and the key to getting in there is being in a place of love. So that's why I do the emotional alchemy first, and we clear all that heavier energy out of the body, so the body vibrates more, is more in line with love vibration. And so that's the key to getting down into that sacred heart. And what that is, if you see Jesus in those pictures, he's pointing to the sacred heart and he's pointing up, and what he's doing is he's telling people that the way up is into through the heart. And in the heart math has proved that there's actually toroidal fields around there, and you can prove them. I use dowsing rods, and there's definitely an energy field there. And what's inside there is the sacred heart, and the sacred heart chamber, which is people's Akashic records. So it's everything in my sacred heart chamber. It's going to be everything that I have been, will be, and am right now. And inside of that, there's another chamber called the creation chamber, or some people call it the tiny space, like the Upanishads. But what that is the place of creation. So everybody's tiny space or creation chamber is exactly the same, and it's a place of creation. So if we go into that place of creation, that's the place where we can activate our Merkaba from. So if we want to just go meditate in the sacred heart, we can go and we can explore who we've been or who we will be. But if you want to actually create in unity consciousness, you must get into that creation chamber, and from there you can connect the heart back up to the brain through the tongue, open up the third eye, and then create your Merkaba. That's always the very first thing that we want to create, and that's the Merkaba. And after that, we can create anything we want, like abundance or healing or whatever it is people want to create for themselves. And so the difference of that as compared to what we do right now, which is polarity consciousness creating, it's we want to create abundance. So we get a list, okay, here's our list of abundance, and then we go, okay, we're going to need to do this and this and this to figure out what do we need to do in order to get that abundance. When we do this in unity consciousness, we go in there with our dream or our desire, and we say we want to create abundance. Go in there, connect the heart back up to the brain again, and the universe brings us abundance. So sometimes in our list, we would forget things, and the universe is not going to do that, or we're not going to do that consciously. But in the sacred heart, in that creation chamber, the universe goes, okay, Laurie, you want abundance? Here you go. You want your workshops out there? Here you go. And it just brings everything to us. We don't need to do anything. It's like all of a sudden people just start showing up and want to do interviews or want to do your workshop or know other people where you can, take your workshop to. It's like going in that flow. I was less than happy in my life, and I was searching for something more, and I had this vision of myself being a powerful medicine woman, and I got part of a word, perseverance, and 6 months later I got to understand what that was as my person that was staying at my house and in my tattoo shop at the time left. And so it just showed me that I needed to do more spiritual work and clear myself up. And that's how I started, was through emotional alchemy, except it was timeline therapy and hypnosis at the time, but I've shortened it into something really simple that people can use anytime. When I first associate them into the emotion, sometimes a lot of pain, sometimes they don't realize it, but their body will do funny things, like knot up somewhere, or real bad pain in their stomach, or a headache, or who knows how it's going to manifest. It's however that person has stored it into their body. And so what I'm doing is I'm having them breathe into that energy and clearing that. They feel much lighter in their body, that they have tingling in their body, sometimes a little dizzy because they've released so much. I just get them to breathe some. One of the feedback that I've received from the pyramid is they thought my work was brilliant, it's simple and easy, and they want to become a healer too, because by realizing that it's doing this work that they are actually, anybody's capable of doing it. With everything that I do, emotional alchemy is the very first part, and it shows in the video with the pyramid that we're going through these emotions rather quickly, and it takes a little more time to integrate that and make sure that everybody's doing that. But in all of my workshops, emotional alchemy is like the number one most important thing, and what we're doing with it is cleaning all the energy out of our body so that I can move into the next step, which is integrating soul, which is introduction to Reiki level 1 and 2, you, Muniki, Sacred Heart Creations. And so after Emotional Alchemy, it's like we can go into any one of these different workshops and boost the energy up. Because as we boost the energy up, it's like, as we clear it, it's like clearing it out so we have a clean vessel. And then with doing the initiation into Reiki or Muniki or whatever it is that we're doing, we raise the vibration of the person. So if, say for instance, I wasn't doing Emotional Alchemy and I was just doing Reiki, what's happening is the body is raising in vibration, and yet all of the emotions in there. So sometimes people can be a little off balance after they've done an initiation, where in the Hawaiian way, it's always more important to clean first and then initiate. So that was part of my teachings in the very beginning, was Huna. And so I always, with everything, clean out first and then initiate. Sun dancing. And I did that for 8 years, and basically that's a Native American tradition. It's 4 days, no food or water, and it's like a year-round preparation. It's like living in a good way all year to get to that dance, so that when you're there, you can do it in a good way. When I first went into it, I got that dream to eagle dance, which not very many women do that. I only know one other one. And so what that entails is getting pierced through your shoulders here, and then a rope comes out to here, and then it ties out to the tree about 30 feet away. And what you're doing is you're like being on the telephone, direct conversation with the creator, and you're holding kind of the energy for the entire dance as other people are doing dances. But my very first time that I got pierced, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to do anything. And I got pierced, and I went out to my place, and I asked the grandmothers to show me how to be with them. And everything went black, and I saw 4 little lights shooting away, and I just said, hey, come back. And as I did that, I passed out. And it's interesting because the grandmothers are not so much in that dance. They hang out more in the moon camp and look after the moon camp people. So it was interesting. I don't know where they took me. I have no idea. That vision hasn't come clear, so I just know there was a really good connection with the grandmothers, and that connection has come over the years of being in the Sundance and being in the moon camp and working with those grandmas. I've worked with many different beings throughout my 20 years of doing this work, and the first one is always Wakantanka Takashala Unchimaka, which is grandmother or Mother Earth, and the grandmothers and the grandfathers of the 4 different directions. And one of the most important ones at the pyramid for me was to call in Mother Sekhmet, because that is the pyramid and that's the energy of that. And so calling on her was, she is a very powerful being, and she comes in and does work with me. And another one is like Archangel Michael, Saint Germain with his violet fire, to clean up any of the energy that gets released out of the people. So I don't have to do anything. That's why I have the drum, and I'm just praying and I'm talking to these beings as people are going through the process. So something in that pyramid video looks very easy and simple, and yet underneath everything there's a lot going on. It goes back a little bit farther than Egypt. It goes back into Atlantis, where I was one of the priestesses in the temple that was, as the Udal was going down, that we, not Udal, Atlantis was going down, that we held the position so that it wouldn't put the Earth off the orbit. And I thought that was kind of strange, because I was in Hong Kong doing a past life regression with one of Dolores Cannon's students, and this is what came up in the past life regression. And then I went on my email that night, and Susan Lai, that I work with a lot off of multidimensionalbeings.com, and I've been following her since the early 90s, and I opened up my email, and in it was Healing the Rift of Atlantis. And so everything that I had given her in the past life regression was there in the email. When I was walking in Penang and I was off to do my work there, and I was wondering, like, I was looking around and seeing all the poverty and people not doing so well, and you know, all these emotions were coming to me. And I think as a shaman, or even as a human being, we create absolutely everything in our existence. So as working like with that shamanic energy, whatever I'm seeing, then I'm creating that as well. So with that kind of line of thinking, I started thinking, okay, to myself, doing the emotional alchemy, what's the root cause first event? And I teach that in one of my workshops, to find that root cause first event. So I find that and clear that with the energy in myself, and then I go out into that cloud that's around Penang and clear that energy, because I see all these emotions as a energy that we're tapping into, the human consciousness is tapping into, and that's why we're acting out all the time, or reacting. And if we start to clean out these emotions out of our body, we can start creating instead of reacting and be more in the flow.